Hello?
Can you say something so I can see if I can hear you?
Yeah. Hello? Who is that? Oh, it's chewing them. I don't know. I was just playing it because what else am I supposed to do? Fatal error. Alright, what am I supposed to play on here?
Hello, hello, hello. Test. I know I'm talking. I can't hear you for some reason.
Hello? Hello?
Oh. Oh.
This is Dave's Pool Hall. You rack 'em, we crack 'em.
This is Dick's Hot Dogs. If you like dicks, you like hot dog. Wait.
What?
This is. Wait, what did I used to say? Oh, this is Dick's Hot Dogs. If you like hot dogs, you'll love dicks.
Oh my gosh. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, man?
So, I just wanted to, because I don't think you really understood what I was saying earlier in text, and I kind of, like, would understand why, because I may just word shit weird, but when I said, oh, I didn't know if it was, like, a Zoom meeting thing. I thought it was, like, your painting thing was, like, a Zoom meeting thing, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, it was like I mean, in the past, like when the COVID first came out, they did like a take-home thing where they had a video, but now they're at least doing classes with masks still, and Allie had signed us up. It turned out pretty cool. But it's like a small class, so no real chance of contamination, etc.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so what I kind of wanted to do, since we missed Tuesday / we're kind of gearing up, I definitely want to make this a podcast of sorts.
Mhm.
I think it would be really cool if, and I need just a little bit, I need certain like events and things, like let's piece together, I guess, some little bits and pieces of Lich's backstory before he became a bounty hunter, so I have things to pull from. And what I'll do is like looking at certain things that we've talked about, kind of set up situations, or if situations organically come up in the campaign that kind of reflect or tie into past memories. I want to write out like a scene from that memory, like for example, one that like you're on the operating table and you first wake up and gain consciousness. I want to kind of role play with you. What do you do? Like we're actually playing D&D, and you're like, okay, I get up and I try to look around, and is there anything I see? And I'm like, roll for it, and then you'd roll, and
Okay.
like I'm gonna try to attack this guard, and so you do it or you don't, but that the results of that little flashback and what you do
Would dictate
kind
how
of
we move forward.
well, yeah, well, it would be like you would take it as canon, and then your character would reflect other events that happen up. So, like maybe you say, "I take out that guard." Okay, you do that, and you get outside, and there's a bright light, and that's all you remember. So then later, I'll be like, "Okay, so he took out this guard. Maybe I'll throw something in the story that was like." That guard's family is like has a son that's looking for you or something like that.
Right.
You know, but if you don't take out the guard, then that doesn't exist. I'm just obviously spitballing here.
It's kind
But,
of like the butterfly effect in a way.
Yeah, kind of. And it helps give us set pieces to work with because I still want to tell the story together, and I think that's a more fun way to do it rather than just like. I mean, JT has a lot written out, which is fine, but it allows you to actually feel like you're. I think if you were role playing your character in a memory, it engages you. It like almost forces you to think like that character would, versus just saying something that's cool, like, "Oh, I got this scar because I stabbed a dude and he stabbed me back." Well, let's flesh that out a little more. Lich would definitely have ripped that guy to shreds. Like, it gives you things to think of versus just saying that this scar is because of this, you know? So,
Right. I mean, I think it would let more natural ideas occur rather than, like you said, kind of like what's the word, like written down in a way. Just
yeah. It's
cinematic
organic.
in a way.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly what I kind of would want is that it not only lets you guys build your characters better and have like a fun, like we wouldn't do those like little like the
It's a
one-on-one
spin-off,
flash.
man.
Yeah, we wouldn't. Well, we wouldn't record the one-on-one flashbacks while we're doing D&D. What I would do is like after the session on Tuesday, and I see a possibility of, hey, this happened in the session. I see something else coming forward or whatever. I mean, I'm not going to tell you guys exactly because I don't want to spoil it. But I'm like, hey, are you free to role play this scene with me? And then I'd set up the scene like I normally do, and then you would tell me what your character do. But the only difference is that character scene is in the past, and then so then I would record it. The other guys wouldn't know about it, but then when I edit together the podcast, like you would like pretend in the session you did, like, just for the example I was going for, you did kill that guard. So maybe organically the guys don't know anything about your backstory, and when we're playing, you guys come up to like a small village and there's a kid that stares at you in terror and then runs off and tells like the guards, and then all of a sudden, like later on, you get accosted in the bar, and the other guys are like, "What? Why'd that happen?" And they would play it out normally. But later, when I edit in the podcast, when you see that kid, I would edit like in the scene that we do together. So like it would play like if someone was listening to the podcast, like you guys are going to the village, and then you see this boy, and flashback the scene where you're killing a guard, and then I would add on the funeral with the kid, and he's looking at the wanted poster of Lich, and then flashback and then it would be interspliced to what you guys were playing. I don't know if that makes any sense right now, but when I do it, it'll be cool and make more sense.
I mean, I think it would make the podcast more viewable for us as well.
Yeah, exactly. It would give you guys reasons to kind of listen to it, and not that you wouldn't, but
It's like kind of reading each other's diary.
Yeah, in a way. But it also lets you organically role play, like it would let them role play, like not that they wouldn't, but it's sometimes harder to role play something, like pretend that they don't know that kid means something,
Absolutely.
So I think it'll be fun. It gives us some other content in case people can't do sessions or whatever. Like Nick was unavailable, and well, obviously if I'm unavailable, then it doesn't happen. But I want to kind of go through the bullet points that we have for Lich right now, and then kind of fill in some particular like potential. So where do you think, when you're playing Lich, where do you think his rage comes from? Like, is it a bestial thing, or is it some sort of trauma that's repressed, or do you think he doesn't know yet?
I think it's more from confusion, because everything's getting pulled out from underneath of him, and I feel like it's more of like non-intentional rage, but more out of just, like I said, confusion.
Yeah. Where do you want that to kind of like if you see him as a character, like, would you eventually want him to control that, like
To find
as he
inner
begins
peace, absolutely, as long
inner peace?
whenever
Okay.
he gets when he's able to piece himself together to find inner peace.
Okay. And I don't think that inner peace will come until he figures out who he was. I feel like that. I'm not to put words into your mouth. Just correct me if I'm wrong, kind of thing. But like right now, Lich, all he knows is he woke up in like however old he was on an operating table and was told these things happened to him, which we'll kind of delve into in a second. I want to kind of toy with you to see what you were told, but
Okay, have you ever seen Click?
yeah,
Okay,
where
do
he
you-
like
do
he
you
can stop
remember-
time and rewind.
Yeah, do you remember at the end of the movie when he had like rewind the remote just went absolutely crazy, and
Mm-hmm.
at the end he woke up like old as fuck. His wife had left him. You know, he's all sad and shit. That's what I want Lich to be.
Okay, so do you think Lich remembers pieces of his past, essentially? Like, do you want him to be completely unaware of what life was before he was this monster, or do you want him to, have pieces of that memory?
I think pieces is what I was kind of
Okay.
aiming for.
Okay.
You know, like he has little things that makes him want to fight for, the rest of the picture, but he doesn't have it all.
Okay. So those pieces, because that's important, would be he had a family. He
Right.
knows that. He had kids. Maybe like I think that's if you still have bits and pieces of memory, maybe you can't see the faces or remember the details, but I'm sure the emotion is there for him of having would we say a son and a daughter? Do you want like
Yeah,
to kind of yeah, a son, a daughter. Now, for the sake of storytelling, I think the event that took place that like changed everything for him, like that took away his family, that changed him into this monster, is something that's either blocked out of his memory or he doesn't know what happened yet. Is that okay?
Yeah, well,
Or
I,
no?
I was thinking more of like he doesn't know what happened. It's completely
Yes. Okay.
That's
That's
almost like eradicated from his brain. You know what I'm saying?
okay. Doesn't know. Do we want to kind of allude that? So, like, I introduced this Dr. Marco guy. So, the doctor that really kind of, because there's in this story that I was creating for Lich, he woke up on this operating table, basically half man, half machine, not knowing where he was, and I don't think the memories of family and stuff were there. Like, he just completely was like an amnesia patient, in a sense.
Well,
Like he
I'm sorry, I don't
Oh,
mean to
go
stop
ahead.
you.
no, I need you to like
Okay.
tell me.
Well, I was thinking more of like Dr. Marco actually being a more vivid memory of of that Lich has than his previous like before, because I want him to have some sort of establishment, because other
Yes.
than that he's just kind of grasping at air, you know what I'm saying? So I
I
kind of
think-
wanted him
yeah.
to be established with Dr. Marco and know who he is and look for
Yes.
Dr. Marco for the answers for the rest of the puzzle.
Yes. Okay. That I probably just was phrasing it wrong. I'm completely on the same page.
Okay.
Like
okay.
he
Maybe I wasn't listening right.
No. I just wasn't probably articulating it right. I think for Lich, it's kind of like his birth, in a sense. His memories that are concrete start on that operating table, and everything else is a dream of sorts. Like he has, like, when you wake up from a dream, you remember bits and pieces of it. You can't remember if it was real or not.
Right.
Some of those memories of like he remembers having a family, kind of. He knows what it feels like, but he doesn't. It's still foggy.
Right.
But after waking up and being fixed and rehabilitated with like going through trying to, because all you know is that you were fucked up. And I think now this is what we kind of can kind of story play together. Dr. Marco was the kind doctor while the like helping you get better and caring about you as an individual, as a person, while there's like a sect of other doctors, and we can come up with names or whatever, but like basically that treated you like an experiment, like a weapon. And so once you were healthy enough, you kind of were like, Dr. Marco's like the mother hen, if that makes any sense, like a mom that like a shelter. But then these other doctors are like, okay, time to test you, codename Lich, whatever we call you, whatever.
Whoa, that's actually like a whole nother level I never even thought of. I'm gonna be totally honest.
Okay.
I'm just sorry. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. That gives me like Bioshock-esque type experimentation with the big daddies and stuff. I don't know if you ever played Bioshock.
Yeah,
but that's
I love
actually
Bioshock.
really fucking cool. I'm with that 100%.
Okay, you're with that. Okay,
Yeah,
so then
like, almost
I
like a council, of
Yeah.
these mad scientist doctors, and he was one that breaks off and actually cares for the patient. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So the Council of Doctor, like my idea is that country that you were basically woke up in and were treated as an experiment. Think of it as like a Germany mixed with Russia, in the sense of like the mad scientist aspect of experiments, but then the Russian communism, where everything.
I pictured Zahn, from League.
No, I don't know Zahn.
You don't know what Zahn is? Look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Just like a picture of like the splash.
How do you?
Here, I might.
Oh, SAU.
No,
Okay.
it's ZAUN. Sorry.
Oh, that's what I don't know why I said S. Okay, yeah, no, that's
like kind of like
yeah.
steampunky, but
yes, yeah.
I mean,
like
don't let me
it's
shape your world, but that's what I was thinking of.
No. That's pretty close to what I was thinking. Like, it's not as dark as this. I think it's like I want it to be kind of like on the outside. People think of it like it's this nice utopia, but underneath the dark surface of it, there's like, people have universal health care and everyone's fed and everything like that. Like everything they do is for the greater benefit of society, or more specifically for that country. Mm-hmm. So like you guys are treated as the country of Dwelva is like kind of beaten down in the past by this militaristic, the Romelians, like the kind of like slave trade war like country that's JT's from. So their country has been beaten in war, and that other country is kind of supported by the world government, while Dwelva's kind of like almost rebellious, but because they are very prideful in a sense. So they're trying to come up with ways to be able to protect themselves and to be able to compete with the world powers, essentially.
Okay.
And you are part of an experiment line of taking of cybernetics, essentially taking people and pushing them past, or creatures, and enhancing them to be soldiers, essentially. So I think you have. So what?
Kind of like playing God.
Yeah, essentially. And so there's very much this pressure from them to do. I think almost like you're forced to be like fight in pits or something like that, and like you're literally pushed to the brink of survival at times. And I mean, just an idea, and that's where kind of the rage comes from. In order to survive, you had to be angry. Like you were forced to break your mind, essentially, to do things like, as a inherently peaceful creature. In order to survive, you had to give up parts of what you were. But Dr. Marco, at the end of the day, reminded you of what you were, like before you lost yourself, and that was kind of part of their experiment. You needed like and Dr. Marco at the end of the day didn't want to betray you like he was forced to, in a way, like treat you like, oh, it's okay, here, I'm here to take care of you. Almost like Stockholm syndrome, you know.
Right.
Like but he genuinely cared. And I'm going to leave some things on the table for me to work with, because I have an idea for the story. But as far as what Lich knows, he was the one good thing that happened to him was Dr. Marco, and you found one day when you were coming back from one of these experiments or whatever, or given, maybe you were tasked with station. Like, I think they eventually, if you're okay with this, and give me your opinion, Lich was kind of passed as a candidate, like after amount of, we'll say like a year of training or something like that. They like they cleared you as a Dwelven soldier, essentially. So like you had tasks and missions, like, so you, on your free time you could go visit Dr. Marco again to keep up with your cybernetics or whatever, but maybe you tried to like a semblance of a life.
Yeah.
And then so it gives, I think it gives more agency to you having the choice to follow Dr. Marco or not, because you're safe now. You finally, after fighting in pits and being forced to be this weapon, you know, hey, as long as I do this, I have a home, I have a house, I can build a life here. They'll take care of me.
Eventually figure out.
Yeah, and I could eventually, until the memories start, because they do start coming back in pieces. You'll see like little, maybe dwarven kids kicking the ball around, and then it makes you like have just a little flash of like your son, and like teaching him how to, I don't know, kick moss or something. But like those you know there's progress and you're getting better, but you abandon that for someone that you concretely know was good to you,
like
because that's
no sanity.
Yeah.
Instead of going insane,
Well,
trying to dig up his
yeah.
lore, he would
Yeah.
absolutely try to find some way to at least survive.
Yeah, and get answers, because I don't think he believe your world is built upon, at the moment, as far as Lich knows, the only good you really knew from that time was Dr. Marco. And if you're being told by the people that you're working for that he's essentially a terrorist and he's bad, that conflicts with your world.
Right.
So, and obviously you're either gonna be like, just, you had the option of suppressing that and being like, I just got to go with it. This is my job now. Or B, find answers, become a fugitive in a sense. And I think that's why you had to travel so far to get to Rockport. And I was trying to think of a way, why wouldn't you just become a bounty hunter where you were at? And I think the best answer is because you were this like soldier or whatever, you were registered in this country, and the only way that you could possibly get the intel you needed was outside of this jurisdiction, essentially.
Right.
And of Rockport, we'll come up with something later, but Rockport is being the kind of like, that territory is very pirate-like, very shady. There's not a lot of background checks in things. They just care about who's powerful and whatnot. So like, or they don't care if you're a criminal or not. They just, that kind of thing. Right. So you knew you could kind of fly under the radar and
get some
at least
lips.
Yeah. So I think that adds me. So you're going to probably have eventually. There's some Dwelven, like, think of like Russian spies, like whenever they don't want their secrets getting out, kind of thing. So there's some sort of there's a fear that you'll be found out and hunted down by other maybe cybernetic soldiers or people that you worked with, etc. So there is pressure to find Dr. Marco,
and then I have a
before
right.
Yeah, before you get silenced, or before he gets silenced. So there's agency there, but you do know, like, and we'll talk about this later, that he's classified as like a master level mission, essentially, the search for him, because he's been labeled as this dangerous terrorist, and they don't want any, novice bounty hunters going after it. They only want the best of the best to make sure he gets captured alive, because most bounties are dead or alive, but specific situations, he must be captured alive is what the bounty is, and so they don't trust it with lower level people. So that the best way to find him is still kind of dig where you can, but work your way up through the to be able to get access to that particular mission, I think, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
Like, you can still put out feelers and ask Gene and stuff, and some people might be like, don't ask questions where you want, but cool. So I have some things written down here. What did you picture in your head as travel for Lich? Like, how like when I told you that he went to Rockport, like, and I think I said, like, he crossed. Well, basically, what's your interpretation of how he got from A to B?
That's actually kind of a good question. Where I was just basically introduced at Rockport, I didn't really think about that. But if I had to think of something, is there like airships in this city that you were talking about?
Yeah, I think there would. That's a good question. I think he would have. So, I think there are, but there isn't. In order to do what you're doing, you kind of had to be under the radar, essentially.
Okay.
So my idea was, you kind of, it being a Yeti as well, you kind of like in Dwelva's near mountain ranges, you kind of like escaped to the mountains. You knew that there's certain like checkpoints and things that are monitored, and the second you became a fugitive, like you'd be had in a way. You'd be had. But because you have this innate, I think, experience in the woods, and maybe that's where some like that like surviving in the woods while which is something you don't remember doing, but you just feel it's in your blood kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know what you meant by that. I thought you meant like if I had to pick a certain like style of vehicle for him to.
No, yeah, well that's.
But yeah,
I wanted before I incepted an idea into you, I was just curious what your visual was. So like I think you, if I don't have the map up in front of me, but this is what I imagine Lich would have done is cross through the mountains to get to like the ocean essentially, or a port, and then either I don't know if he would like he probably would sneak his way or work his way onto a merchant ship going to Rockport. Is my best bet. I remember saying that you like crossed through desert and stuff and you were tired and whatnot, but I don't, not to retcon in a sense, because we didn't really necessarily specifically say what it was. You could have just been exhausted from running up from the port and just a long journey. But
we'll see. What I was basically imagining was like him getting dropped off by an airship and having to walk the rest of the way, because I kind of pictured it as like a starting scenario where I don't really have access to anything.
Okay. I like that. I like that too. Yeah. Actually, you would still have connections. You probably paid off someone that knew
right
where to drop you. Like, when you say dropped off, do you think it's outside of the country of Dwelva, or like the border of that country, or like really close to Rockport, and then you had to trek the rest of the way?
Well, obviously not to look suspicious, I think it would be in like right on the border, So like
Okay.
pay someone off, hey, take me here, and then I have to actually go through the woods and take myself to
Okay.
in the mountains
Okay.
and stuff.
I like that a lot. That makes so much more sense. Dwelva border, and then woods. So like like this is just my thought process. Ship. So now that I like just having that in general lets me think of a scene like where like maybe where you guys are traveling together and you get split off and there's a night where like, you're stuck by yourself in the woods, and that's a good point for me to insert a flashback of back when you were alone and had no one else to think about but yourself, and like that first isolated moment of after you're dropped off on the airship and you're just facing the wilderness in front of you with no one but yourself to rely on, and kind of paralleling those two moments. Now you're by yourself again, but this time you have hope for a friend. Like you know what I mean?
Like a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and so like having opportunities for me to cut these in is makes it a lot of fun. So we talked about the mask. Is there anything you thought of like having this mask that was maybe the only possession of your life beforehand, or what? Like maybe they couldn't get it off of you because it was something that you did as like a warrior, like because you could control bone, you'd put the mask on and then cover it with bone as like just kind of like a symbolic, like kind of like putting your dog tags and kissing them
Right.
under
Yeah.
before
I think
battle.
it would almost be kind of ritualistic for uh, that to happen. Like your firstborn son, and that be a ritual.
Okay.
That is
Okay, I like that a
and
lot.
that's why what reason I was thinking of that is like that's why it also has small engravings that eventually show up through itself over time to unlock other memories that were repressed. Almost give it like like you said, divine magic esque type of vibe.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Where do you want Lich to go? Like, obviously things will change as we do events, but like when you think of the badass like pinnacle, last time we talked, we were thinking, okay, so you're donned in like this bone armor and have like knocking guys left and right and maybe doing other things. But even in one session, we've kind of already hinted at this like inner rage or like something this bestial thing. Do you have any sort of ideas of what you want like end game Lich to kind of be like? I think you sent me a picture of like Volibear armor.
Well,
Or is that vague for you right now? That's completely
well,
fine
hold
too.
on. No, let me ponder on this for a second. So you're trying to say like, what would I picture Lich to be as like end game, like visually, or
Or just kind of
with my
like
abilities and type?
yeah, kind of both. Like where do you like what do you want out of like what do you think would be badass for that character and kind of
Well, like I said, like I said, Rick is kind of that ideal beginner of what I would picture Lich to be. Kind of just there. He has the mask or whatever. And then in game, I know you played some Skyrim, dude.
yeah.
Like the fuck, what was it called? Kind of like the horny Daedric armor. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
With like the deep red. That's what I would picture, and like it, maybe instead of it being like a bone-like texture, you could even make it more cybernetic.
Oh, that, yeah. Do you want that's kind of where I was getting at. Do you want to play into like a combo of both? Like, not that it, I mean, I guess that's kind of an obvious, like,
I've
yeah, of
honestly
course I do.
kind of been leaning more towards like this is a natural thing that I was Lich was born with was the ability to mold his bones and stuff in certain ways, but I
Mm-hmm.
have to slowly replace that with the cybernetics in place of my bones to gain other improvements in other ways.
Okay. I like that is super cool. And almost like your bone,
I'm
like,
gonna
so you can
pull this
manipulate.
up so Kelsey can see what I was talking about, because she has probably never
Uh,
played Skyrim. Yeah, that kind
uh,
of bone like pointy material was kind of what I was thinking visually.
um,
Did I just put on my mic? Nope. Okay. Oh, sorry, I had to get my mic.
um,
I mean my phone. Shit.
so,
Oh, it's pulling on the Alexa cord. Hold on one, Scott. Oh, hold on
okay.
1 second, Scott. Fuck. Yeah, I said it. See, that's my problem. I don't know why I do this sometimes, but I like smash words together. So I'm like, hold on one sec. Hold on one
Oh, I
second.
do.
Or
I know
some dumb
exactly what you're
shit.
saying.
I think it's like a disorder. It's gotta be or something. But hold on 1 second. I'll be right. I have returned
Okay.
with more
Cool.
cheesecake.
I hate you so much. I love cheesecake.
Got the strawberry swirl, bro.
So, so like later on, Guts not Guts, Lich, kind of starts utilizing the fact that he has like the bone stuff is kind of enhancement, like things that he can control, but even that isn't as strong as like, you know, the downside to the like the cybernetic stuff is you have to rely on other people like mechanics to kind of enhance things and change things and whatever. Unless Lich decides that he doesn't want to rely on other people and takes time to start learning it, which is potentially something he could do. He just has to have someone to teach him, kind of thing.
Right.
But if give me one more second, if you look at some of the stuff, so I've been reading this really, really dark but awesome series called Berserk. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. But
is that like Hunter x Hunter or some shit?
yes and no. I mean, Hunter kind of was inspired by it, but here, so this basically, it was like this, like